finials. Great designs. I stole several things out of this book. This was one I didn't get a chance to make, but this is for doing the sea urchins. It's for sizing the holes. It's a little step, just feeler gauge. I also think you could make one of these to fit in a chuck that would work incredibly well. Now, so thank you, Robert, for letting me borrow this. Another superb idea that was in here was to take your Forstner bit and make a set of sizer gauges. So I took my 2 1/8 Forstner, drilled a half hole on the edge, drilled a hole in the middle. Now here's how slow I am on the uptake. I've got this great long piece of this stuff came in a package that my wife ordered. And, you know, I could never throw anything like that away. And so I took it out to my shop with the intentions of making this. Now, I've got a variety of sizes. Here's 2 inch. I've actually got them in the order that I drilled them. And I was like, okay, how can I store these to where I won't lose them? I initially thought of, you know, a beaded chain, you know, like her on fans. And then I'm like, I don't know. And then I thought, oh, zip tie with slack. But then I thought, it'll probably, you know, I wouldn't be able to take it apart. Now, I liked what Mark said about you don't have to come up with all the good ideas yourself, basically. I was doing something with Bryce, and Bryce had one of these. Is this a welding clip or what? Yeah, a welding clip.
A welding clip.
It's a big safety pin.
Yeah, it's just a big safety pin.
So how does a welder use that?
I don't know. But,
I get chip and hammer on.
but, I'm like, oh, drill a hole, put it on here, and then I can access whichever one I want. And these are pretty handy. And so, you know, Robert's helped with this demo. Bryce has helped with this demo. Tom Farrell has helped with this demo because in our library, you know, I can just about remember every demonstration we've ever had. Tom did this demonstration for us. He also did it for SWAT. Now, Tom Farrell is a much better turner than I am. And I actually believe this was published in Woodturning Design magazine. And I didn't have time to find it, but I knew if I looked long enough in here, in our library, I might be able to find it this morning. And I got here in time. Now, Juan Rivera went to a lot of work to catalog all of our DVDs. He made a spreadsheet. And there are spreadsheets basically in every box that tells what's supposed to be in there. You know, oh, Freddie, here's one on an atomizer Rose engine. Do any of y'all know that Freddie has a Rose engine lathe? No? Okay. Well, it's out there. Okay, now, I was asked many things about including in this demo.
Hey, Jim Bob,
Yes, sir?
before you get away from your DVDs and things over here, I learned a whole lot of how to do some of these parts that I turned. A demonstration there in that library over at Houston Library. Anything you want to learn how to do, there's something in there that's going to teach you how to do it.
That is right.
So use it there. It's be helpful for you.
I began my service to our club as our librarian. I was still teaching. And I said, I want to help out the club, but I don't want to be on the board. Because the board does have some time commitments. And so I said, you know, I think I can be club librarian. It's an underutilized resource that we've got. And, you know, I would encourage anybody that wants to help to volunteer to Bryce, say, hey, I'd like to do this. Okay, let me finish with my cadoos. Yes?
Could you copy that spreadsheet and put it on the website so we know what's in it?
I'll look back in emails, Robert. I think we got those in the email. I want to say a couple years ago when Ron put it together and
For the new folks, we could list it.
I'll look back and see what I can find. I'll get to work on that.
Use it. I can see it up.
Okay. Yesterday I was working on a finial for this demonstration. And I went over and grabbed some bloodwood that I have. The bloodwood was only this long. But after I cut it and put this one on the lathe and started having difficulties, I'm like, why am I having difficulties? The grain in this wood is running diagonally. And it's doing it on more than one side. So, you can help yourself out if any time you're picking wood for a finial, if you will select something fairly straight grained. All right. Well, I had probably 30 to 40 minutes invested in this, and the little tenon, because the grain was going at an angle, the little tendon I was gripping with decided it was going to break. And I wasn't through with it. And I'm like, crap, how am I going to fix this? And I thought back, you know, Randy Thorne did a demo on long stem goblets. And he took a cone center and he put some padding around it and he stuck it into the end of that goblet to support that while he made the stem really thin.
Since then, I found out a rubber ball was better.
A rubber ball. Well,
Excellent idea.
yeah. Okay. Well, yesterday, I was like, okay, what? Because I already had the point turned. When you start doing these, you start from the end and you work back this way. So I'm like, what do I have that I can support this with? And I thought, oh, my,
Mandrel saber,
yeah,
that's what they call it.
okay. So I took multiple paper towels. I put it on there. And I brought my center saver up. I'm going to expedite the process here. And I was able to support the end of this with that. So, you know, it's just proof that I don't have to come up with every good idea. Just like Mark says. You know, our intelligence collectively is incredible. Okay, so now that I've gotten past that, I'm going to start with the inside out ornament. Okay, if you have not been out to my shop, there was a guy who was in the cutting board business that I'd done some work for, and he owed me money. And when he went out of business, his idea was, okay, I will settle my debt with Jim Bob by having him come over and clean up all the wood out of my shop. Yeah, that's great. So I've got a ton of already glued up little cutting boards. I've got quite a bit of, you know, dimensional maple, dimensional walnut, dimensional cherry, but it's all sized for gluing up cutting boards. We've used some of it for class, that's great. So I took 2 pieces of it, planed it, got it square. Now that right there is super important. I tried this first with a hose clamp because I know there's people that do that. And this is the first turning. Now, if you noticed on this end, I made a mark on this end to designate what is going to end up being the inside when I flip it around and glue it. Okay? I also made a mark on the opposite end that will help me keep, end for end. Okay, so I used packing tape, multiple layers, just to kind of hold this together. I would be remiss if I did not mention the first person that I saw that was doing inside-out ornaments. And that was Bob Herman, ages ago. In fact, we were doing inside-out ornaments for our classes prior to when we did the birdhouse. What I didn't like about them is there were too many student failures. These were probably packaged by Bob. They were bundled. They have been in my shop for probably 10 years. Maybe not quite that long, but they've been there. And they are cut for inside out very thin ornaments. If you want them, take them. They don't need to go back to my shop. They're over here. They are free.
F-R-E-E.
That's right. Okay, so I've got this taped together. I did not bring my safety drive, so we may be tempting fate here this morning because I've got a spur drive. A cup drive would be ideal for this. Come on, quit shaking. All right, let me see if it's going to open it up.
Jim Bob,
Yes, sir.
I've watched several videos that guys use strapping tape. on
Yes,
top of
the reinforced
Yeah.
tape that has the strings in it. Okay, I knew the shortest tool rest the club had was this one. I've actually got a shorter one out at the shop, and I was like, yeah, I think I'm going to take that shorter one. Now, as I'm thinking about this, I was thinking of 2 different things for the inside. A tree shape or a bell. Everybody for the tree, raise your hand. Okay? Everybody for a bell, raise your hand. The bell wins. Okay, part of what I'm doing here is I am looking at the shadow that is between the tool rest and the wood. Now let's see, a bell comes in like that. Something went south for just a little bit. Nope, my drive has slipped off center. Because I don't have the right drive. All right. We'll try it one more time. If it doesn't work, I'll go to something else. I'll try to be a little more easy-handed. Now, what I'm doing here is I'm kind of utilizing some of Robert Marsh's suggestion from last month. You notice I'm not standing directly in front of it. Huh? Well, I know it is possible that this could come apart. And I'm really slowing down my pressure and my cut. Just to kind of be a little ginger with this. Okay, this will be the bottom of the bell. And this initial cut is a lot like making a pommel on some of those leads that I did. Now, the problem I'm going to run into here is I'm probably going to be overreaching here very shortly my tool length recommendation. Okay. And sometimes with this, you almost have to think backwards as to, well, what is this going to look like? It would probably be better if I'd have drawn it out, but I'm just like, I'm just going to wing it. Well, that's what happens when you're overreaching things. I'm almost deep enough. Okay, just to give you an idea, you can see this is going to be the top of the bell. And, you know, I'm going to take this out just a little further. Kind of doing a little shear straight technique right here because I've got different, I pretty much want this to be fairly straight right in through here. Shear scraping takes forever, so maybe if I come in, now that I'm fairly confident that it's not going to blow up on me. Okay, we'll say that's good enough.
If you're gonna sand it, you sand it now.
That's right. But I'm not going to sand
I
it.
understand.
Okay, so when I take everything apart, have to get out my dull pocket knife. All right. Now, my inside corner now becomes my outside corner. So if I take these two and go one, do you see the bell shape on the inside? You can probably also see the bell shape on the outside. Okay. I recommend doing this part with wood glue and being patient enough to, oh, come on, beast. I may have to go back there and get some of the good super glue out of the... Do you know we have super glue for sale back there? We do, we do.
Medium?
Oh, it's finally come. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna glue 2 halves first.
2/4.
And I want to make sure that I get my inside perfectly even. I've got just a second or two because this is really thick super glue. Okay. Okay, inside is fairly even. I want to make sure that my pattern matches up. Okay, doing this with wood glue gives you a little more time to make sure that everything is in alignment. Oh, come on, beast. Don't quit slipping. All right. So, I'm going to say that that half is fairly decent. So now I'm going to come to my other half. All right. And this is some old super glue. If you notice, I'm putting it on quite away from the edge because it will migrate when you go to squeeze it.
I store my super glue in a refrigerator that I got in my shop.
I do too.
And it will last indefinitely. Don't leave it on the shelf.
Until the bottle breaks down, it spills and goes everywhere.
Yeah. Is that supposed to freeze? Right, yeah.
Don't plastic bottles don't last forever.
Okay, so now my pattern looks fairly decent. I could probably go that way just a touch. Maybe not. All right. All right, so now I'm gonna let these two sit for just a minute before I do the next thing. Now, 4 holes are easy because you can drill those 4 holes
Through and through.
when it's still square. But 3 adds a little more interest. With 3, you can probably get away with a little bit bigger hole. And it's really very simple. On 3, your holes are centered 120 degrees apart. Yeah, that's just 360 divided by 3. 120. Now, making something like this, I am so sad that Alicia is not here this morning. Because I brought this especially with Alicia in mind. Okay,
I can take it to her.
well, this is some of the famed wormy box elder. And Alicia and Zach were out at the shop when I was initially cutting this, and live bugs were coming out of it, or live worms. You know, I cut through several of them.
They're not little worms either.
No, they're not. Okay, so here is how easy it is to prepare. Okay, I'm not gonna be able to do it up here. I'm gonna have to do it down here. And I'm gonna go ahead and move the skewer out of the way. So that I don't gore myself and say bad words.
Again.
Yes, again. All right. So it is possible that that might fit right there. I love it when a plan comes together. All right. A 30-60 triangle is your best friend. While it is in its square state, you take
Oh, it's drifting. Got a ghost that pushes it or something.
and you draw a square line through the center. Now you take, and this is totally counterintuitive, you take the skinny, the 30-degree in, you lay it down, find your center, you draw one of them this way, flip, you draw one of them this way, and now I have my 120-degree angle here.
Lower it down a little bit. There you go. Good.
Here. And here. All right, we're going to come back to this in just a second. Because now, hopefully my super glue has had time to grab. And so now, oh, that's kind of interesting. That's why you got the little marks. And I probably had a little bit of glue squeeze out. If I was in my shop, Probably what I would do here is take this surface to my belt sander, because it probably slid just a little bit when I glued. And I would get this good and straight. But since I'm not in my shop, and I'm trying to tempt fate here, good thing this will be on the skinny end of the ornament. Okay, make sure I don't have any squeeze out there. Come over here. I've got a little chip right there that is dealing me grief. And I have the spot where I put the clamp on it, the hose clamp on it initially, on this outside, that's also giving me some grief. And so I'm going to test my fit. Bah! I've got gaps. So let's look in the bag of tricks down here and see what the coarsest grit of sandpaper I have is. That may be some 120, we'll find out. Okay, so I know a joint with gaps is not very strong. So what I'm trying to do here is take away the high spot that is right here in the center. Okay, I'm checking to see if it rocks. It still rocks just a little bit. So, I could keep sanding. My belt sander would take care of it way quicker. Oh, sand the right side. Okay.
I'm glad it's not just me.
Well, you know.
I would have got the bell on back.
Well, I kind of missed in one spot on here. It's still rocking, and I don't want to glue it and try to turn it with it like this. So, I will just explain it from here out. I would glue this. I would probably put it in a clamp. Clamp it here, clamp it here. After I got it flat. Then, you've already got your center points marked. It's where the intersections are. And then you just turn the outside to any shape you want. It could be a globe. It could be a bell. And you just, you know, it's just regular turning from here out. You put this in between centers. You round it out. You turn a tenon. Now, my question is, who wants to finish this up for the ornament exchange next month? Ken Romines is a taker. All right, take that back to Ken.
Can I interject something real quick?
Yes, sir.
I had to make a bunch of these one time, and I started out with worm clamps on it, and I hated them. And so what I ended up doing was taking my 4 pieces, taking a square piece of plywood that's about 1 inch bigger, laid these down, and then glued 1/4 inch down to it. And I did that twice, so that when you put them in your head, it's inside that wood, it's captured, it can't come out. And I put one on the tailstock also, turn them around so the corners don't hit you, because they will knock the fire out of you. But that eliminates having to hold them or anything, and those 2 wheels hold them together inside.
I'll give that to Ken. That is a great idea. Yes, sir.
Also, when you're gluing them up, you put a little bit of salt between on the glue. When you put them together, it'll keep it from sliding.
Okay.
Gives a little bit of traction.
And then the salt and stuff.
Now, a lot of times when I'm gluing little stuff like that, I may even just throw it in my bench vise. Yes, sir, Ron.
Well, don't you usually hit one side of your piece with accelerant and then?
That is if you can get it perfect the first time.
Well, I mean, you have to be
You don't
good.
have enough time to get perfect or something.
I'm probably not that good.
Well, I don't know, it seems like some of my, I can hit the accelerant, put my glue on, put it together, and it'll move around for a little bit, because I don't know if my glue is getting old or
It
just
locks
what.
down real quick.
Yeah.
Very long, so.
Okay.
That 5% tolerance, is that perfect, and you'll be okay.
Okay, I'm not through yet. Because we are going to do this ornament, and I'm going to show you the technique involved in getting it laid out for the 3 holes. Okay, I think I am through with this one. That way I don't forget to take it home. I'm going to go back to the club 9-incher. You know, I remember Mark Middleton, who's going to be demonstrating next month, right?
I guess. I forgot it was gonna be Christmas party, guys.
Spears with a skew? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Woo-hoo-hoo! Okay. I remember Mark Middleton saying he uses the size of the Life Center as a cheat when he's making his tenons.
All the time.
All the time. Because that size is real close. All right. Always inspect your wood. This piece would have come flying off,
That's what I do, you just match it in line.
and even though I'm wearing a face shield, it might have hurt. I want to see how wormy it is right here. See if I've gotten, oh, it's horribly wormy. I may want to go a little further.
Don't go further with your pin in.
Oh, I won't. Okay, it is still horribly wormy. But who knows? That could be interest.
Could be.
All right. Zach? Where's Zach?
Right here.
Okay, for what we are going to be doing next, we really need to see this side of the lathe. Okay, so you may have wondered why I used a pen to mark my 120-degree lines. And that is because if it's different from the pencil lines I use to mark centers with,
No confusion.
yeah, I don't get confused, and I am fairly easily confused. All right, so what I am doing is I'm using my tool rest as a guide. Since it's nice and straight, what I am doing is I am lining up all three of my lines, and this one's going to be quite the challenge because I've got 2 lines to choose from. Okay, but we'll say that is close enough. Now, what I need to do next is decide where I want my holes, and since I think this is the more religious end, how's that the religious end? It's holy. Okay. I think I'm going to scoot my hole location to right here. All right. Now, with it here, I'm going to do 2 more things. First thing I'm going to do is take an awl. This awl has a lot of meaning to me because I got this from Dick Markham. Okay, so I'm just taking my awl and marking the intersections of my hole. Okay. Now the second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to prepare a tenon on here. I'll make a dovetail tenon. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use Mark's tip. I'm just looking at this, I'm looking at the tenon. So this is a 1/8. So I'm going to make about about around 3/8 tenon. I'm going to make it dovetail. Why? Because I figure most people have dovetails. All right. So now it's got a dovetail tenon. If I wanted to, if I would have remembered it, oh, guess what? This body is 1 5/8. How do I know? Oh, 1 5/8. Okay? So, my guess, I'm fairly certain that's not 2 inches. Oh my gosh, it is 2 inches. Okay? So, learn to cheat.
There's a guy that makes on YouTube, and he talks about that. What he does, he puts his pistol right on top of his tailstock, where he just measured and just goes straight over, and that gives him the exact size tenon that he needs.
Yep.
Real easy.
Okay, now, we are in my shop and we have taken it off the lathe and we have moved over to the drill press. And that happens with amazing regularity. I remember something that Dick Markham said in a demo. He said, the way I get all my exercise is dropping the things, or picking up the things I've dropped on the floor. Now, this is called a V-block. If you've ever tried to drill anything that is round, it has a tendency to want to roll around on you. How do you prevent that? With a hold down. Okay. All right. So, now I would clamp it down. With the clamp, I'd probably adjust it to fit the size a little bit better, tighten it up so it doesn't keep flopping back and forth. I would get my depth stop on my drill press set first, because your bit needs to go to the center point. That is critical. You don't want to go beyond center, because then you're going to be running into the corner and on the other two. So you get your depth stop set to where you're right on center.
Now,
Then
is that the tip of your drill or
the flat.
the cutting? Okay.
Okay. Then what I do is I bring the bit down, I match up the hole with the center point, and then I clamp this part to my table so it's the same, so that it's repeatable, because I've got 3 of them to do. And so once I get everything secure, safe, then I'm making my 3 bore holes that have my nice crisp corner on the inside. Now, it is time for another victim. Who would like to finish this one up for the ornament exchange? Oh, I'm sorry, David.
Don't throw it, I can't catch.
No, you get this one.
That's fine, I have
Dewey will get the cedar elm. Okay?
Cedar elm was great.
Yeah. All right. Hey, I still have time.
You do.
going an inch and a half. I guess it depends on how thick your piece is, how far you drill in.
My center points are marked on both ends.
No, but I mean into the wood this way. Like when your Forstner bit, you're only going in what?
It matches the center point on the end.
Whenever you get drilled through there,
Yes. To answer your question, yes. You're only going halfway through the wood. All right. David, do you have something similar to this?
No.
Why don't you take this one home, borrow it to drill your holes,
Right, I'll do it.
and you know where it came from. See, now, if you notice on that one, it's got a cut. I don't remember what project it was for, but I had to cut something round. I set up my fence on my bandsaw, clamped it down, ran the jig against the fence on the bandsaw.
And so, I mean, it was to roll.
Yeah,
You don't
and
cut
that way,
no damage.
yeah, and it's safe. Okay. I am constantly amazed at our show and tell. I learn more probably from show and tell than I do from demos. And this last year, Ben Hammock did some things out of zebra wood, and he probably just dyed something black, but this is African blackwood. I think this was a match made in heaven. Hey, Randy, move aside for just a second. One way or the other, doesn't matter. Ben, do you have one more ornament left in you? All right. Because that's liable to make Donna happy. Oh, cool. Yeah, now he's really happy. He's fired up. Okay. I hate bringing things I don't talk about.
Looks dangerous.
No, this is just for clamping purposes.
Oh.
This has not been glued. But, Robert Suddeth, what could I do to this to add more interest? It's plain, it's one color.
Put veneer in between these pieces.
Ah, yes. Put a thin piece of veneer in between each piece. Hey, Randy Thorne, oh gosh, it fell. Slide that back to Randy Thorne. He'll do something with that. And you can even have the strap clamps. Because I get tons of them out of the dumpsters. I mean, I've got a box. Do not go buy hose clamps. If you need some for gluing up, come see me.
Be out.
Huh?
I'll be out.
Okay. Now, this is some spalted big leaf maple. It's not stabilized. And this end may have a crack in it. Mark, do you need something cool to use for your ornament?
I can.
Here you go.
I'm good at catching.
All right. Anybody like this piece for their ornament? Robert Sudduth. Anybody recognize what wood this is?
Okay.
Ah, correct. Correct. This piece hadn't been stabilized, but I'm almost positive you could get a nice gray ornament out of this one. Okay. Do I have a volunteer for this piece?
These are the steps that I go through to make those little ornaments.
Okay, well, hang on. Let me finish and then you talk about that.
I'll do the buckeye.
All right.
Should've brought your glove.
Freddie Hicks.
Arizona could have used it the other night. Especially that center fielder.
Okay.
Yeah. He'll never live that down.
I ran into these at SWAT. These are from Arizona. They're humongous choyas.
How do you spell that?
C-H-O-L-L-A.
You got them from me, Jim.
Choya. Huh?
You got them from me.
Yeah. Do you still have them?
Yep, yep. So if you need any, you can buy it from me and I'll donate the money to the club.
Woo, baby. Woo, baby.
That size?
That size.
How many?
I think I have 10 left, and then I have small little hockey puck size too for like turkey calls.
How much are you selling them for?
I think $10.
$10 is what I paid for this at SWAT.
And then, like I said, we'll donate that to.
Okay. Well, see, I was thinking that you could get two ornament bodies out of this. Freddie Hicks.
You make that little cup, you can get like 10 of them.
Now, are you?
One of them is Freddie. One of them is mine.
Jim Bob,
Yes, sir.
do you remember Charles Swift's walking cane?
Yes.
Is that what that was?
Probably.
When he passed, I went over to his house and I bought a box of wood right there, and I bought his planer that didn't work,
Yeah.
and it still don't work. I plugged that thing in, I'm knocked the electricity out of the whole block.
Well, then you need to talk to an electrical genius.
I got some big pieces of that stuff. I got some big pieces of that stuff right there. Like he made his cane out of,
Yeah.
and that's what it is, or I know what it is.
Yeah.
No.
Yes, sir.
So, would you epoxy that, or just leave?
No, I would embrace the holes.
Okay.
It adds interest, and it's already hollow.